want to start out by saying that although I am going to be speaking of body dysmorphia, I want to first say that I have not been diagnosed by a licensed medical professional with having body dysmorphia. I feel that there are people out there that are actually diagnosed with this, and it wouldn't be fair to them or their struggle for me to claim that. So although I have called what I've experienced body dysmorphia in the past, I'm going to use the term phantom fat syndrome instead of body dysmorphia going forward, so as not to take anything away from people who have that as an actual diagnosis. If you or someone you love is struggling with an eating disorder or a body dysmorphic disorder, I encourage you to seek professional help. I have links and phone numbers to some resources in the description of this video. So a lot of us have a poor body image, and this can stem from many reasons, such as childhood, media, or other factors. After a large weight loss, we may become hyper-focused on our weight and/or start looking for other flaws or imperfections. We can become so focused on losing weight that we may begin to fixate on things that make us feel insecure. And let's be honest, the loose skin, stretch marks, uneven weight loss, and so on do not help matters any. So as we are losing weight, we are seeing friends, family, and coworkers who are commenting on your weight. That feels good, right? Well, yes, but it also trains you to think that people are always looking at your body, looking at your weight, and so on. You begin to look at yourself in the mirror more, buying things to make you look better while trying to cover up your perceived flaws. You start picking those flaws apart, which can put you in this cycle of anxiety and self-loathing. This inner voice telling you to cover up your flaws becomes louder, and you start making attempts to quiet it. Excessive exercising, drastic diet changes, and even plastic surgery can begin. But even something as drastic as plastic surgery does not change anything, because after the plastic surgery, we are still not perfect, and getting rid of one flaw only makes you fixate on another. You may even start to isolate yourself from friends or family. So I think the subject is important, and I don't think it is discussed enough before having weight loss surgery. And for me, it was the hardest thing about the weight loss process, mostly because I was just not prepared for it. So I'll start from the beginning. I had gastric bypass surgery in 2017 after reaching my highest weight of over 400 pounds. I actually stopped looking at the scale after I got to 400 pounds. I was never exactly sure how high my weight got up to. But when I had the surgery, I was 400 pounds. So by December of 2019, I was down 185 pounds and continued to maintain a weight of around 215 to 220 pounds. I remember waking up one morning at some point during that year to get ready for work. And while I was brushing my teeth, I looked in the mirror and I didn't even recognize the person that was looking back at me. I remember touching my face and being like, holy crap, what happened? I looked so different than what I remember just the day before. And after I finished brushing my teeth, it was gone. I saw my old self in the mirror again. That there was the moment that set off something in my head. And I was then on a mission to see that new version again. The difficult part was that I could not see that version in a mirror. I could only see that person in side-by-side photos. In the mirror, I still looked like my 400-pound self. I went through a phase where I would change my clothes 3 or 4 times before I would even leave the house, because everything I put on I thought made me look bigger. I wore black a lot. I still do. But I wore black a lot and I wouldn't leave the house unless I felt I looked thin. I would starve myself in hopes to see that reflection again, and would almost have panic attacks when I had to go somewhere because I was afraid that others would still see my old self as well. Even today, when I'm walking past a window and I see my reflection, a lot of times I still see that 400-pound self in the reflection. That can be tough, and sometimes it could ruin my day or make me question why I'm even still doing this, but then I think about how I feel and remember why I still keep working out and sticking to my diet. Another weird thing is that I feel that I should look different than what I do. I don't exactly know what should look different, but I just feel something is wrong or off with my appearance all the time. Because I'm being open and honest about this with everyone, I'll just tell you that I actually have a list of things that I would change. And at some point I might do some of those things, but Probably not everything. But in regards to like my face, I totally would change my nose, upper eyelids, and even the lower eyes at some point. Um, in regards to my body, well, my goal was to never really be thin, but I would love a much more defined chest, nicer arms, shoulders, a much nicer lower back, nicer thighs, and we go on. But I could tear little things apart about myself and say that I want to change things, but I do know that changing everything I listed will not fix how I perceive myself. So do I feel that I actually have body dysmorphia? Honestly, no. I may have dealt with it for a while, but I think because I grew up idealizing the bodies I saw on TV and in media, I just have high expectations for my own body. I'm the type of person that thinks if other people can have it, I can have it too. There's no reason why I can't. So I don't feel that there's anything wrong with wanting the best for yourself. And I feel that we do have a lot of control over our bodies. And like I said earlier in the video, I would classify what I experience and even still experience as phantom fat syndrome. Yes, we are all going to age, and I'm not under the illusion that I will live forever or look young forever, but I refuse to just allow myself to decline. Maybe it's because I felt the difference between being obese and then being in pretty decent shape and know that there is just no comparison. So I'm not willing to just let that go easily. I feel that if you have the desire to look younger, have a nicer butt, or any other reason that people may think is superficial, if it motivates you to work out, eat better, and so on, that's okay. Those squats that you're doing now to get that nice butt will help you as you age with your mobility and being able to get up out of that chair, walk up and down stairs. The reason why I won't say that I have or had body dysmorphia is that I think that there is a big issue with people self-diagnosing themselves based on things that they find on the internet rather than getting properly diagnosed by a licensed medical professional. I don't think it's good for our society as a whole that we have so many people now living as a diagnosis. And what I mean by that is people now will search online for some type of problem that they can identify as. They aren't being diagnosed by a doctor. They are diagnosing themselves as having depression, body dysmorphia, ADHD, and so on. Based solely on an internet search, they are now living as if they have that diagnosis. I'm actually the opposite, and I don't ever want to look for things just so I can claim some type of physical or mental illness. I think a lot of times it's done solely to obtain sympathy or score some type of victimhood points. There's no shame in having a mental health or physical issue, but it's not some badge of honor that anybody should aspire to have. People claiming to have something that they do not actually have only hurts the people that do have it, and it makes it harder for them to be taken seriously. I will also say again that if you feel that you are suffering from an eating disorder or body dysmorphic disorder, I again encourage you to seek professional help. I provided some links and phone numbers to some resources in the description of this video. As always, thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and feel free to comment below. Thank you.